Right now, a massive concentration of military power is converging on the world's most critical waterway. Two nations are locked in a dangerous standoff, and a 25-day countdown to a potential conflict, well, it's already begun. And let's be clear, this isn't some what-if scenario. As of today, February 15th, 2026, Iran is conducting live-fire exercises right in the middle of international shipping lanes. This is not a warning or some future threat. According to ABC News and the Associated Press, this is happening right now, and it's escalating a situation that is already at a boiling point. So what's all this about? Well, it all comes down to this one narrow strip of water, the Strait of Hormuz. At its narrowest point, it's only 21 miles wide, but its strategic importance to the entire world is almost impossible to overstate. To really get a sense of why this matters, just look at this number. Every single day, 1/5, a full 20% of the entire planet's oil supply gets funneled through this tiny choke point. This isn't just about regional politics. This is about the energy that literally powers our global economy. And if you want to put a price tag on it, that flow of oil is worth about $1.2 trillion a year. That's the GDP of an entire country passing through a 21-mile gap that Iran is currently firing live weapons into. The economic stakes here are just astronomical. Okay, so with that as the backdrop, how is the United States responding? Well, they're moving an absolutely unprecedented amount of military hardware into the region. Let's take a look at the pieces being placed on this global chessboard. On the surface, the power is just staggering. The USS Abraham Lincoln strike group is already there, and now it's being joined by the USS Gerald R. Ford, the largest aircraft carrier in the world. That's not one, but two full carrier strike groups, with at least 15 escort warships confirmed. This isn't just a show of force. We haven't seen this kind of concentration of American naval power since the Gulf War. This is a big deal. But as impressive as those carriers are, the real game changer, the really terrifying part of this buildup, is happening completely out of sight, deep beneath the waves. Let me introduce you to America's Ghost Fleet, 4 Ohio-class guided missile submarines. And get this is a critical detail. 2 of them, the USS Ohio and the USS Florida, were scheduled to be retired this year. The Navy literally canceled their deactivation just for this. The current contingency, as they call it? Yeah, that's a raw. So what makes these things so scary? Well, each one is packed with up to 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles. To give you some perspective, a single one of these submarines showed what it could do during Operation Midnight Hammer, launching missile after missile from underwater. The targets had no idea what hit them, they never saw it coming. So let's just do the math here. 4 subs, that's a potential for 616 Tomahawk cruise missiles. And remember, they can all be launched from platforms that Iran has no way of detecting, tracking, or even finding. It is an absolutely overwhelming, invisible threat. Okay, so this isn't just about showing off firepower. It's about strategy. It's about a really, really high-stakes game of chicken, where both sides are making moves and counter-moves, trying to scare the other guy off without actually starting a full-blown war. And if you want to know what someone's really thinking, you look for the tell, right? Well, here it is. At Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the U.S. has suddenly surged its fleet of KC-135 refueling tankers from a normal 6 or 8 all the way up to over 20. You don't do that for a simple patrol. You do that when you're gearing up for a sustained air campaign, keeping bombers and fighters in the air for missions over Iran. The tankers are the tell. Okay, so the U.S. is getting ready for an air war. How does Iran push back? Their biggest, most powerful move is to choke the global economy. They can do it by mining the Strait of Hormuz, making it impossible for all those oil tankers to get through. It's their trump card, their ultimate asymmetric advantage. But here's the counter move. The Pentagon saw this coming. They've already put 3 specialized minesweeping ships right there in the region. Their whole job is to be ready to clear those mines the second they're deployed, basically to neutralize Iran's biggest threat before it can even really get started. So what we're seeing here are 2 completely different philosophies clashing. On one side, you have the US with its strategy of overwhelming force, basically saying, resistance is futile, don't even try it. And on the other, you have Iran using these asymmetric threats, like the mines, to say, go ahead, attack us, the cost to you and the rest of the world will be so painful, it won't be worth it. And all of this, all these pieces moving around the board, brings us to a timeline that is shrinking by the day. The strategies are set, the hardware is in place, and now the clock is ticking. So let's just lay this out. Today, February 15th, Iran starts these drills. In less than 2 weeks, by February 28th, that massive forward strike group is in position. That gives everyone just 13 days until March 12th, the hard deadline President Trump has set for a diplomatic deal. The window for talking this out is closing, and it's closing fast. You know, there's actually a term for this kind of dynamic. It's called the escalation ladder. It's this really dangerous cycle where one side makes a move, the other side sees it as a threat and has to respond, and that response is seen as an even bigger threat, and everyone just keeps climbing higher and higher toward a fight. And it looks like there's a pretty clear playbook being used here, one we just saw the administration use in Venezuela. Step 1, build up an overwhelming military force. Step 2, apply constant pressure. Step 3, issue an ultimatum, a final deal. And step 4, if the ultimatum fails, you act. This isn't just happening by chance, it's a deliberate process. And this quote, this really tells you everything you need to know about the public story being built around this. We gave them every chance, and then if a deal does not happen, we acted. It's framing any potential military action not as a choice, but as the only logical next step if diplomacy fails. The justification is being put in place right now before anything even happens. So that's where we are. Iran starts shooting, the US sends another carrier, the US lines up its refueling planes, Iran gets its sea mines ready. Both sides are climbing that ladder. Every single move is a provocation, and every response is just another provocation, pushing things higher. So with 25 days left on the clock, and the biggest warship in the world just over the horizon, the stage is set. You've got 2 determined opponents, a $1 trillion waterway hanging in the balance, and a clock that's about to run out. The real question isn't if this kind of pressure could lead to a conflict anymore. The question is, in this incredibly high-stakes game of chicken, who is going to blink first?